Shit. Nice foggy mess this morning. We had like 4 inches of fucking rain in 24 hours yesterday. Firemen were clubbing on our fucking door yesterday evening, telling us to evacuate. We was going to be flooded, all this other bullshit. Okay, fine. But because we live close to the reservoir that feeds Frostburg their water, and the water was across the road here yesterday, but it wasn't real deep. And that pond down there looks like it's good. Some towns got flooded out yesterday. Westernport, who else? Cressuptown. That one's back to normal, yeah. Looks like the waters have receded here a lot. That's good. It's real good. So I'm on my way to work. They were saying that the Piney Reservoir was going to flood the valley I live in down there. But the thing is, it would have had a valley to go into first, because behind my house it's a hill up into the woods. And then it goes downhill sharply down in there, and there's a creek. It's called Piney Creek that feeds the Piney Reservoir. So that's the valley it comes through and feeds the reservoir. So if it was, they were afraid that the dam was going to bust. They said that it was, was overshooting its banks. I saw videos of it, and they were right. They were correct. It was going over its banks. But they redid that place down there for Frostburg back when, oh my, I was just a wee little, I was probably 3-4 years old when they did that. They made it a lot bigger. It's 54 feet deep, the reservoir is, and they said it was 250 acres. I don't think it's that big, but it might be. I don't know. And they were saying they had that claim that yes, it's going to overrun its banks, and it's going to bust, and it's going to come flood out your house. And I was like, well, that's kind of funny, because that son of a bitch would have to run a good ways and go up a pretty steep fucking hill to get to my place. Another place that was flooding really bad yesterday. The water was down here so bad yesterday. There's a pipe in the part of the road I just crossed there in that dip. There's a pipe that's big enough to drive this car through, and it was struggling to take the water away yesterday when it was raining. I'd never seen it that high, but I know some beavers one time, they throwed a bunch of fucking trees and shit in front of it once, and they dammed it off. And they was in there just having a good old time, swimming around in that shit. But that was many years ago that happened, and the state roads, they came and unclogged it. And that's the only time I've ever seen it as high as what it was yesterday. But that's because it was dammed off. But yesterday it was just struggling because of debris and, the high amount of water that we had, the high amount of rainfall that we had. Just fucking insane. I just couldn't wrap my head around that. because it was just holy shit. But a lot of towns down in Allegheny County got flooded yesterday. LaVale was one. Cumberland had a few streets flooded out, which, you know, it floods down there frequently. I don't know how Mount Savage is. Haven't heard nothing about them. But that town down there floods at the drop of a hat because the creek runs right through town, right through the middle. And that's the same way with Westernport. The creek runs right through the middle. LaVale, they have a creek that runs right down through the middle. Cumberland down there used to flood really bad because Wills Creek that comes down through Mount Savage meets the Potomac down there in Cumberland. And in the spring of the year, usually, they would have a flood. But the Army Corps of Engineers came and built a reservoir. They dug all that out down through there. When you get too close to Cumberland there, they dug it all out. And it is so deep in there. I mean, there's a constant flow of water. I don't know how deep that reservoir, that cut is down through there, but I can tell you yesterday that it was almost to the top. That's how full that bastard was from runoff yesterday. I'd never ever seen it that high. And like places in Cumberland flooded where there was underpasses, shit like that. So Cressup Town, that flooded out because there's a creek there. Town of Barton, they flooded a good bit because there's a creek. There's creeks that run through all these places. George's Creek runs through a lot of those places. And this shit was on the Weather Channel yesterday. It made the Weather Channel. And there's the elementary school in Westernport, or high school, or whatever it is. They had cars floating around in the parking lot, like smacking into each other. Their first floor was about shoulder deep with water in the building and in the parking lot. They had to get rescue boats out to go over and rescue all the kids. They all put life jackets on them and brought them out. Everybody came out of there without a hitch. Everybody was safe. But the volunteer firemen in my area, you bastard, they came over. Oh my God, you better evacuate. Blah, 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 whatever. I'm like, well, you know, this is, I've never ever seen it flood at my place. Never. The the drainage is way too good down in where I live. If 4 inches of rain didn't flood my place, that's the most rain we've ever had at one time. But if you could just imagine how that would be with snow, that would be just that would be one hell of a fucking snowstorm. I'm thinking 4 inches, I don't know how they figure that up. But I think for every inch of rain, it's a foot, I think. Snow. So that would be like, goddamn, that'd be 4 feet of fucking snow. Which, you know, Colorado, up there in the Rockies, they see that shit quite frequently. So that would just be an old hat to those folks. I mean, we get a lot of snow around here at times. Like the last couple of years we didn't, but like last year we got a lot of snow plus a lot of extreme cold. And that was fucking insanity. So, but anyway, that was my evening yesterday. Well, we left. We left the house. I put the dog in his kennel. And I got to thinking, I thought, if it's going to flood down here, what the fuck am I going to do with this damn dog? Because he is a fucking holy terror in the back of my car. I had him in the back of the old Mercury I used to have, and he shit all over the back seat. And I had to clean it up. Because he got all nervous and his stomach got to rolling from him being nervous. He got all this anxiety being in the car, going to the vet. Just as I pulled in the vet's office, he hunched his back and shit on the back seat. Right in between both my kids in the back seat. So they had to be cleaned off too. They had to clean the poo off their arms. And it was running shit. I even cut one of the goddamn seatbelt buckles off because his shit got down in it. I was like, fuck this, I'm not cleaning that bastard. So I ended up cutting it off, throwing it away. But yeah, we ended up going to the fire hall. My mom was there. Everybody was there. And a bunch of people from Pocahontas there in Somerset County, which is like right in my backyard there. They started coming out. They started coming into the Finsville Fire Hall. And they had pillows and blankets and all kinds of shit. And I was like, really? We're going to have to stay overnight here? And then a volunteer fireman comes up and says, hey, you Maryland folks, where you live at? I said, well, you know, they're in Church Run Road. Oh, well, your evacuation is volunteer. And I was like, oh yeah? And he goes, yeah. He said, you don't have to be here if you don't want to be. He said, but if you want to come here, you know, because you want something to eat. They was having sloppy joes and hot dogs, you know, and it was all free. It was all donated stuff, and they said that if you want that, cool, you're welcome to eat with us. So it's like, nah, I'm not going to do that. It was Tuesday, motherfucking Taco fucking Tuesday, baby. I wasn't missing my tacos for nothing. So we ended up packing up and going to the fucking house. So there was no imminent danger, and I knew there wasn't going to be. Because those guys, they don't know the terrain down in there. I've walked that shit back in there. I'm a Gen X kid, man. That was my days walking around through the woods. Seeing what I could see. There's a bunch of junk cars back there. I was jumping around on, clubbing on them. So it's like, you walk down in there. It's pretty deep down in the bottom. I've been down in there so many times. I have to follow this big truck to work here. But anyway. It was quite the mess yesterday. Saw 2 wrecks on the interstates. We were cleaning up one of the rest areas on I-68 down here. We went to the weigh station, went to the scale house first, cops all sit, and they ended up throwing us out of there. Said that we were clogging up their little operation. And I said, well, why don't you just close this thing for about 2 hours? No, we can't do that. The commanding officer that was there, he said that would make him look bad if he closed that for 2 hours. We did get him to turn the closed sign on it. For about an hour, we got out of them. Then they kicked us out of there. They told us to get the fuck out. So we left and went to this rest area. That rest area, it's a fucking clean up there. You could eat off the goddamn ground. We cleaned every inch of that son of a bitch. So, yeah, and I was going down. I was in transport of my load of junk. I saw a few accidents because people can't fucking slow their asses down. But we are now in Accident, Maryland. Accident. That's a fucked up story. Accident got its name because the king sent 2 surveyors back in the day to survey the land over here, and both the surveyors bumped into each other, and they decided to name this place Accident. So they accidentally bumped into each other surveying. I know that's fucking boring and nerdy to fucking hear that, but that's the truth. My fucking parking spot here. Oh, look, I'm the only one that fucking showed up so far. Look at that. Have to do a video on the overlook over here sometime. Yeah. So, all right, everybody. There's your fucking ride along to work today. Looks like it might clear up a little bit, maybe, if we're lucky. It might clear up. It's supposed to rain a little bit this morning yet, but I don't think it's supposed to be too bad. So, it's about 6:30 a.m. So, here we go. Show you what I'm operating here. That street sweeper right there, that's what I run. For now, I don't know how long I don't know how long this gig's gonna last, but yeah, there's a lot of equipment sitting around here. He said something about putting me in that dump truck right there, but I don't know yet. You never know. All right, everybody. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one.